Yo, what is going on? It's Brownwood's TCG, and we are back at it with another RP Law video. So pretty much, if you guys seen my last video, it was my my introduction video for playing Law in EB-01, and up until now, I feel like I've gone through some testing and stuff like that, and I've modified my own personal deck list in comparison to that last one that you guys seen. So real quick before we jump into the main bulk of this video, I just wanted to show you guys my latest and greatest iteration of the deck without any budget constraints or anything like that. So yeah, pretty much a few things are different. I think I took out one queen, and I added some aces right here, some Zoros as well. But the main thing that I changed is going to be this 5-drop Miss All Sunday right here. This is definitely the spicy pick. Not so much spice, more so as in like it's just a great option for Red Purple Law. So real quick, the quick reasoning as to why this card is so good is, so if we go first, which typically I like going first always, right? On our first dawn turn, I throw these guys out. On my 3-dawn turn, I like to throw him out, or any other 3-cost option that you guys may run. And then on my 5-dawn turn, I want to play Kid, Shambles into Reiju is like the ideal situation for me personally on how I like to play. Either I'm Shamblesing a Searcher, or if this first turn Gordon sticks all the way until my 5-dawn turn, I can Shambles a bigger body, bring in Reiju. In the off chance, however, that I didn't see a kid, if I don't see any kids on my 5-dawn turn and I see queens, queen never feels great to use on your first 5-dawn turn. So and that's just something that I've felt playing so many games. I never really like playing queen early. He's more of like a mid to late game card that kind of helps me find these Gordons or the Raise Max to be able to shambles out more important bodies later on in the game. So when I don't see kids and I have a queen, it never feels good to play queen. But now that we have Miss All Sunday, this is an even better. This is a way better card to play on your first 5-dawn turn other than queen. Yes, queen is going to give you the power to draw 2, trash 1, which is pretty good in and of itself. But if you play this Miss All Sunday on your 5-dawn turn, right here it says you add 1 dawn rested, right? If you have 6 or more dawn, draw a card. So if you play this on your 5-dawn turn, you ramp up to 6 and then you draw a card with no need to trash a card. So in the off chance that you don't see kid on your 5-dawn turn, Miss All Sunday is the next greatest thing, I feel personally. So that's pretty much the reasoning as to why Miss All Sunday is so good in RP Law. And also the trigger dawn -2, play this card, and then obviously her on play effect activates. So if you have 1 rested dawn, I mean you add a rested dawn, and then if you have 6 or more dawn, draw a card. So pretty situational on if you can get that off sometimes. But yeah, Miss All Sunday is a great addition to the deck list. So I just wanted to highlight this real quick before I jump into the rest of the video. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. So pretty much what this video is going to focus on is RP Law options, different cards that we can use if the price point on some of the more important cards is a little too steep for you. So yeah, let's just jump right into this first card right here. So this is going to be a 2k counter budget option. This is the Sanji. So and real quick, before we even start going through all these cards, this isn't even just like a budget list or anything like that. This is definitely a nice rotation of like bench cards to have. Like, I don't know if you guys watch sports, but in sports there's a starting unit and then there's a bench unit, which the bench unit is just on reserve until until their number is called, right? So I feel like all of these cards are pretty good in terms of just having them and just having them in case you need to switch stuff out, adjust your deck for your own personal logos and stuff like that, depending on which leaders you guys are going against. So yeah, let's just get right into this Sanji right here. So this Sanji is a 2k counter. He is a option to put in. I believe the spot on my deck list that he would replace would be like the Otama or the Kamazo. The Penguin 2k is definitely staying on there. But yeah, pretty much this Sanji would replace the Otama or the Hitokiri Kamazo 2k. And his effect is pretty good, right? Like activate main, you may add one card from your life to your hand, then this character gains 2000 power, and then give this character 2 rested Dawn cards. So if you guys don't use a Sanji a lot, I'm pretty much gonna tell you guys how to use him. So if you're playing against an Enel, right? Enel wants to keep you at 4 life the whole game until he hits his 9 Dawn turn, and then he plays Yamato, and Yamato can KO all of your 4 cost or less characters, plus his 1 life, 5 cost or less, which pretty much is our whole deck. So pretty much what this Sanji is going to let us do is, if we play Sanji, like if you're playing against a player who you know is going to starve you, sometimes you don't know if they're going to starve you or not, but depending on the matchup, you kind of have an idea. So Enel wants to starve you so they can hit you with Gedatsu, so they can hit you with Yamatos. So pretty much what this Sanji is going to do is you play Sanji, you activate main, you take one of your life cards, so you go from 4 to 3, right? And then that pretty much protects all of your 4 costs from getting Yamatoed. And then if you want to take one more life to go down to 2, that way everything is completely covered. Right? If Enel is at 1 life and you're at 2, total is 3. So Yamato can only KO everything that's 3 cost or less. So this is a pretty important card to have if you're facing a lot of people who like to starve and just deny you cards and let you run out of cards in hand. So pretty good budget option here. I believe the card's not even that expensive. It's like a couple bucks each, but super strong. And I feel kind of situational because you're not always going to get starved, but in the off chance that you do, like I said, this is a great card to have. Moving on to 4 cost Brook. This is from EB-01. This is an older card. I feel like people were definitely running this back before all of these brand new cards came out that are completely broken. All of these new purple cards. So pretty much what this Brook does is Dawn times 1 when attacking, give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power during this turn. So this is essentially like a film law, kind of like this, kind of like a weaker version of this, just because this is on play, and then this is going to be Dawn times 1 when attacking. But this lets you choose up to 2 opponents to reduce 2000 power. So a little different, but kind of the same. So I know this card is very expensive right now, and if you guys cannot afford this one and you guys are looking for a budget option that kind of fills the role of the 4 cost 5k 1k counter and has a reducer, this Brook is going to be your best bet right there. Pretty good card. I've never personally used it, but mainly because I had these already, but yeah, I felt the need to highlight it just because it has a really great stat line, almost identical to this one, and it kind of has the exact same effect, just a little delayed, 1 turn delayed. But that 1 turn delay, it's kind of worth it if you think about it, because it is a turn delayed, but it's kind of it definitely is a better effect than this one if you can get it off. So yeah, moving on, we have the Portgas the Ace 7 cost. This is definitely a option to slot into the main deck, I feel, if you have access to them, mainly because I've been noticing that this card definitely helps a lot in the mirror, mainly because it is out of range of getting shambles by 1 Gordon. So if you're in the mirror and you play this card, your opponent has to invest 2 cards to remove this one, as opposed to everything else in your deck being able to get removed with one Gordon. So this card is very strong in the mirror. It's also strong into the black decks who like to reduce cost and KO, right? Ace being a 7-drop is definitely going to help out in terms of having our opponent expend a lot of resources to get rid of this 1 card. And then the on play is pretty crazy. Give up to 2 opponents minus 3000 power, and that's going to be it. The second part doesn't take effect because it's leader locked to Whitebeard. So that is kind of a hard pass point for some people, right? Not having that secondary rush part, but I feel like the on play minus 3k to 2 different opponents devastates the mirror, and also he's pretty sticky when it comes to playing against those black decks. So Ace is a great card to slot in as well. So moving on to our 3-cost limb. So this is a pretty niche pick, I would say. I used to run this when I was first building my law deck, and I didn't have any of the cards that are, I would say, core. So I was definitely filling in some slots. I think that this was even before Shariah came out, so I was using this in like OP-05. So pretty much it's a blocker, no counter, which kind of sucks, but has an effect. Opponent's turn, when this card is KO'd, give -2000 power to one of your opponent's characters or leaders. So when I play Law, I like to have strong 3-cost options as well as strong 4-cost, obviously, but that's pretty much like the whole bread and butter, right? It's like the 4-cost shambles and stuff like that, but I feel like the 3-cost is definitely something that you have to pay close attention to, and you have to have strong 3-cost options. I think right now the strongest 3-cost options that we have are Rush Zoro, Shariah. For 3 costs we have Zoro Juro, we have the new Chopper. So this is a pretty niche pick right here. If you guys just want to try it out, see if it works for you, go ahead. So yeah, moving on to our 4-cost Saga. This one came out in OP-06. So he has a pretty interesting ability on top of being a 2K. So this 2K is going to be pretty much also replacing the same slot that this Sanji would. Also the Kamazo, let me pull it up. Kamazo, this card right here. So pretty much all of your 2Ks should be replacing each other. If you do want to add in 2Ks and remove 2Ks, I feel like all of these 2Ks are going to be substituting each other. So it's just going to be up to your own personal playstyle to decide which one fits you best and which one is going to help you most in your locals. So typically whenever I'm thinking about 2Ks though, I like having 2Ks that are playable. And what I mean by playable is like if you have a 2K and perfect example actually, I'm going to show you guys what I mean. There's a green card called Baby 5 and it is a 2K counter. Give me a second. Oh my gosh, this BABY. So this Baby 5 right here, this goes in the Don Quixote do Flamingo birdcage deck, and it's a 2K, right? But then its effect is end of turn, you may trash this character, set it to your Don is active. So this is an unplayable 2K, I would say. So you never ever want to play this card. You only use it for the counter 2K. And it's searchable, right? The birdcage engine has its own search engine with this Baby 5 and then with the off-white as well. So this is an unplayable 2K in my opinion, right? Which is cool because in that deck you can search it. And pretty much, hold up, let me take this off before it starts lagging on me. So I like to have playable 2Ks in my red purple law deck. Mainly because I just feel like it's stronger to have a playable 2K than to not have a playable 2K. So pretty much this Saga card right here, this is Don ×1. When attacking, this character gains 1000 power until the start of your next turn. And then at the end of this turn, trash one of your film type characters. So how do you use this card? So pretty much this card works in tandem with this card right here. Coincidentally, another 2K. So this is another playable 2K that you could definitely have in Red Purple Law. So pretty much with this, I guess it'll make more sense to talk about this Buena Festa first. Buena Festa, I'm sure a lot of you guys know about it, but if not, this is pretty much going to be a search card in your Red Purple Law deck. So this is an on play. Look at the top 5 cards in your deck. Reveal one film type card other than Buena, and then add it to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of the deck. 0 power, 1 cost. But it's a 2K searcher. 2K searchers are pretty rare in this game. I don't even know if there's any. There might be a new one coming out. I think a new green Otama might be a 2K searcher. 1 cost. But yeah, 2K searchers are completely busted, I feel. And this Buena Festa is gonna help us search. Here, I'll show you guys. So if I were to have that Buenafesta in my EB-01 deck, this one, it could search 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Any other film that I have in here? I took out the film laws. So in this specific iteration, it wouldn't be the greatest. But I think I had an OP-06 deck. Yeah, this one right here. This was an OP-06 deck that I used to run. So you can see film, 3 Buenas, and then 4 film right here. So pretty much what this Buena is going to do, like in this specific deck right here, this Buena helps me search for these 2 cards right here. Mainly, this is the main search. Secondary search would be this guy right here. So being able to have these Buenas allows me to have less of these maxes. So pretty much these ratios can be completely switched over too. So if you're having trouble finding and buying these really expensive Gordons, you can add 2 of these and reduce 2 of these, add in some Buenafestas. That way you don't have to worry about not drawing them, because you have a top 5 card searcher right here, and pretty much this Buena is going to help you find these cards, so you don't need to have 4 and 4. It kind of gives you some flexibility. So that's pretty much the main function of this Buenafesta. It's going to be to search these 2 cards mainly. Secondary is this, third would be probably this, fourth would be this, but again, every situation is going to be different. So yeah, moving right along to our other card, it's actually in this same deck, so I guess we'll talk about it. So this Saga, already read his ability. He gains 1,000 power until the start of your next turn, right? Dawn times 1. So if you give him 1 Dawn, he goes up to 7k, because the Dawn gives him 1,000, and then this effect gives him plus 1,000. So he swings for 7 with 1 Dawn, and then when he's arrested, he stays at 6 until the start of your next turn, right? But the only thing is, it says at the end of this turn, trash one of your film type characters, and the main target that we're going to be trashing is this Buenafesta. So when we play our Buenafestas like turn 1, with 1 Dawn or 2 Dawn, 3 Dawn, whatever, they're going to stay on the board, right? They're gonna have their on play effect, and they're gonna stay there. And then if you have this in hand, you play this, and then you swing for 7k, and then you just trash one of these searchers that are already on the field. They're completely useless after you use them once. They have 0 power. They've already fulfilled their purpose, and now they're just there to be a power up boost just for this Saga right here. So these 2 cards work in tandem. If you want to experiment with running this 2k right here, you could definitely try that out. Just make sure you have some Buenafestas in there, because you don't want to be trashing Shariahs. You don't want to be trashing these guys. You don't want to be trashing him or Ain. The main target you want to be trashing is this Buena. And if you have no other film type characters to trash, then this Saga will trash itself. It's not a question. You have to trash a film type character. So it's either going to be one of these guys, or it's going to be the Saga itself. So there's that one. Okay, so moving on, we have the 5-cost Ace. This one was just a pretty spicy pick. When I was looking through the 5 costs, I just seen it. Double attack, pretty standard. 5-cost, 6k power. Pretty situational, pretty spicy. I feel like maybe having a 1 of this would definitely be the limit. Definitely not having more than 1 of these. It's always nice having double attack. Super threatening, super menacing. I feel like if you throw this guy out, your opponent immediately has to remove it. Yeah, I just felt like it was a pretty interesting card. Double attack is always nice, and it's an option if you guys wanna play it. 5 Dawn, it's right in our in the perfect sweet spot for when we're hitting our curves and stuff like that. So yeah, there's that one. Moving on to the 5-cost Rush Luffy. This is a super fun card for me specifically to use. I've been using this card since I first started playing RP Law, and it's super disgusting, right? 5 cost, just like Captain Kidd, right? Captain Kidd 5-drop is a defensive 5-down play, whereas this Rush Luffy is going to be an offensive 5-drop play, right? You can play Kidd, and then you can shambles a searcher and bring in something else, right? As a defensive play. But then on the opposite side, if you want to rush some characters down, if you want to rush your leader down, you play this card instead of the kid to get an offensive 5-down play, and you can still shambles, right? If you already have one of these guys on the field, or if you have a searcher that's already within the shambles range to be able to get rid of, right? So this is just a nice little option to throw your opponent off guard. I run one of these in my deck, not in my current iteration, but up until the end of OP06, I had one Rush Luffy in my deck. It was my winner Rush Luffy that I won back in OP05, and it's just super nice to have it. Having it as a one of, also, like, you know, having this guy as a one of, I feel like having a one of definitely mixes it up a little bit, just because it never feels dead in hand because it's only one. And I feel like whenever I draw Rush Luffy, I always try to play it. So it feels really nice when you pull it off, catches your opponent off guard, and then it also has that cracked ability, Dawn ×2. Your opponent cannot activate blocker. I've definitely won a game with this effect on Red Purple Law, so it's a great card to catch your opponent off guard, and to pretty much just rush your opponent down and try to go for a sneaky win at the end. I was experimenting with this one, but yeah, we're gonna just remove it because I realized it was leader locked. So moving right along, we have the Miss All Sunday, which I spoke about a little bit in the beginning. Pretty much this Miss All Sunday is going to be, again, 5-Dawn, right? So I feel like our 5-Dawn cards right here, and right here are all pretty much interchangeable. If you're going to put in Miss All Sunday or take out Miss All Sunday, you want to replace it with this or any other 5-Dawn, right? The Queens, the Kid. I feel like the Queens and Kid are pretty irreplaceable right now, though, but definitely has some wiggle room with some other 5-drops. Pretty much on play, you're going to be playing her on your 5-Dawn turn, ramp up to 6, and draw a card. So this is a Dawn Ramper and a card draw at the same time. And it has a playable trigger, which is Dawn -2, play this card. So it's super underrated, I feel. It's definitely making waves in the Japanese meta. I've been seeing it posted a lot overseas, and I think some people are starting to catch wind of it here in the West. So definitely keep an eye out for this. Hop on the wave early. This is a really good card, and it's just going to be helping you guys be more consistent in that early to mid game, and not have to play Queen instead of her, and force yourself to go down in Dawn when you don't necessarily want to. So moving on to the Zoro Juro, 3 cost, right? Pretty much when attacking, if you have 3 or less life, you attach one Dawn to Zoro and swing for 5k, and then you ramp a Dawn active. So you pretty much get to use one free Dawn in your turn because you attach it to Zoro and then you get it back active. So Zoro Juro is really good. The only issue with him is in order to get this Dawn ramp off, in order to pull it off, he needs to stay alive one whole turn after you play him, right? Because his effect is when attacking. And the main issue is that there's so much removal nowadays, especially in Sakazuki, that it is almost impossible to keep Zoro Juro alive, even for that one turn that he's played in. Because you're gonna play him on your 3-Dawn turn, then if you're playing against Saka, he has a 4-Dawn. And then there's numerous ways that he can get rid of this right here. He can swing to leader -1 and then play Lucci KO, or he can, you know, swing leader -1 and then Hound Blaze bottom deck and then buff up one of his brand news, you know what I mean? So pretty hard to keep Zoro Juro on the field nowadays, especially against Saka, and mainly because Saka is probably one of the strongest decks in the meta right now. Like, if not even probably, he is the strongest deck in the meta right now, just because he got super strong with these OP06 editions, like the Ame no Murakamo, the 2-cost the 2-cost event that bottoms 2 cards, a 2-cost and a 1-cost, pretty much Lucci effect in that 2-cost event card. So it's gonna be our main opponent, our biggest threat. If you're playing Zoro Juro, your biggest threat is Sakazuki. So pretty much if you play Sakazuki, this is pretty much going to be a dead card, I feel. You kind of want to just keep it in hand as counter, because if you throw it down, or our opponent obviously knows what this card does. This card is going to ramp us down, and he's going to deny that from us. So he's going to invest resources to get rid of this immediately. So I will say though, however, as soon as Sakazuki gets banned and he goes away, this card is going to make a return for sure. Mainly because, like I said, his main counter is Sakazuki and is removal, right? So as soon as that's gone, I feel like we're going to see more Zorojuros jump back into the meta, or at least into the meta builds. Moving on, we have our 3-cost Trafficker Law Searcher. So this is almost in the exact same boat as Zorojuro, right? Because 3 cost, and then both of their effects are when attacking, right? When attacking, ramp one Dawn, or when attacking, look at the top 5 cards and search. So yeah, pretty much it's everything I just said about Zorojuro. It's the exact same for this card right here. Yes, this card's good because it lets you search for your Heart Pirates. It lets you search for the Beppos, the Penguins, your blocker laws, your film laws. Helps you search for Gamma Knife if you run it, which is down here. We're gonna talk about that later. And what else? The 2K Beppos, which I think I saw here somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Do I have 2 different option pages? Yeah, I do. Well, we have 2 different option pages, so I'm gonna go through both of them, make sure I don't miss any. But I believe the first one that we were going down was this one. This one looked like it was actual one that we were looking down. So yeah, everything I said about Zorojuro applied to Trafficker Law. 3 costs are hard to keep unless they are actually doing a lot of work for us, like the Rush Zoro 3 cost that gets an attack off, right? The 3 cost Shiraya, which is, if it gets removed first play, yeah, that sucks, but he has a late game effect that it's pretty strong once the game goes into the late game. So moving on, we have the Vinsmoke Yonji. So I was experimenting a good amount with these Germa cards, and this one's pretty straightforward. It's just if you have equal to or less Dawn than your opponent, this character has plus 1000 power. So he is essentially a 4-cost 6k blocker with 1k counter. That's it. He has no other effect other than that. Most of the games you're gonna be at equal to or less Dawn, if not all. Probably like 90% of your games you're gonna be at equal to or less Dawn than your opponent, unless you're playing against a mirror, where if you are, then this card is very situational, right? So other than him being a 4-cost 6k, he's pretty good as a budget option. If you can't afford queens, I feel like this is an okay substitute. You can probably like get away with having some Miss All Sundays and then some Yonjis, so you can still have that 6k blocker in queen. You're just not gonna have that that Dawn effect, the Dawn -1 draw 2 trash 1, but we are gonna have that draw effect with Miss All Sunday. So if you use these 2 in tandem, I feel like it'll be a pretty good substitution for queen. So moving on, we have the 6-cost Banish Zoro. I've been experimenting with this one. This is pretty much the yellow killer, I would say. Yes, it's 6 Dawn, so it is out of that 5 Dawn curve that we want to hit. But if we're going second, I feel like he's definitely an option, right? Because if we go second, we go 2, 4, 6 in Dawn, right? 2 Dawn, 4 Dawn, 6 Dawn. And then if we're playing Ain, which, let me show you. You guys should know what Ain does, but let me just refresh in case people don't. If you're playing Ain, which is pretty good, on play, add 1 Dawn and set it as rested. So if you play Ain on your 4 Dawn turn, you end your turn at 5. And then you can either play Ace next turn or this guy, and then play 1 Gordon and just go ahead and get that started like that. So he's pretty good, mainly because he does have that banish, and yellow decks just live off triggers, right? So playing this into yellow decks, you're gonna be able to get rid of those life cards and not activate any of those triggers. As soon as this hits the field, it requires immediate answers, I feel, mainly because people don't want to be trashing their life cards. People want to be getting them and adding them to their hands. So pretty good card, super strong. gonna be attracting a whole bunch of attention whenever he's on the field, and pretty hard to get rid of, right? Because he's six cost. He's not going to be the 5 cost where he could just get removed pretty easily with all of the black cards and stuff like that. So pretty interesting option. Maybe running like a 1 of or like a 2 of, and slotting it in the same spot as this Luffy, this ace, or this other ace right here. I feel like a 1 of or 2 of this one right here, or this one right here. So that would be the spot that it would take up in your deck. Moving on, we have the 4 cost Uta right here. Pretty much this is a 4 cost blocker, 4 cost 5k, and it has an effect, right? So it has the on block Don -1, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This is a pretty good effect, I would say. I use this card in my purple yellow crocodile, and it just helps me prolong the game. To be honest, it helps me neutralize my opponent, and if they have like a 5 cost Sabo blocker active and they swing with leader, I can block with Uta and rest the Sabo. So pretty strong, especially in the meta now, I feel, because there are a lot of yellow black Luffys who are running a plethora of 5 costs. There are a bunch of black 5 cost Sabos in a lot of the black decks, like Moria, like Sakazuki and stuff like that. This is also pretty good in the mirror, where it helps me rest a Eustace Captain Kidd and stuff like that. So super strong. Yes, the Don minus hurts if done inefficiently, but the effect I feel is super strong. So this is definitely an option that you guys can play around with and to see if it works for you. So we spoke about the Buenafesta already, and we'll move on to my personal sleeper, my personal favorite card, the Wire. So Wire is just a 3 cost, 3k, plus 1k counter, and is a blocker. And he has an effect once per turn. If a Don card is returned to the Don deck, draw 1 card and discard 1 card from your hand. So pretty much this is going to be our cycling card right here. If we get these Wires and we throw them out on our 3 Don turn at the very beginning of the game, right? We never swing with him, obviously. He's just going to stay active the whole time. We're going to force our opponent to invest cards into removing him, right? Because we're not going to let them swing into it. Every turn that this guy is up, and pretty much every time we shambles, right? Anytime we Don minus, we're going to be getting the draw 1, trash 1 with this Wire. And then on top of that, if you play the Queen, if you already have a Wire on the field and you play Queen, Don -1 on play, not only do you draw 2, trash 1, you also draw 1, trash 1 right after with him. So pretty good synergy with the deck. There are other cards that do Don minus, like this card right here. This card right here, Don -1. If your opponent has 7 or more cards, you may trash 2 cards from their hand. And I believe you can do this also even if your opponent does not have 7 or more cards, because it says if your opponent has 7 or more cards, you may trash 2 cards from the hand. So if they don't, you can still Don -1 and get this effect off. I believe that's how that interaction works. It lets you do that on sim. Whenever you play this card on sim, it gives you the option, even if your opponent doesn't have 7 or more cards, it gives you the button click if you want to activate it. So pretty interesting tech with this card and this card right here. So there are a lot of ways that you can proc this Wire to be able to get you that card draw. So the only bad thing about it, however, is it gets shambles for free in the mirror. Super unlucky that it's 3k power and not 4k, because obviously if it's at 3k as it is right there, it's literally right in the range of getting shambles. So not going to be great in the mirror, but I feel like it's going to be pretty good in any other matchup. Obviously Sakazuki gets rid of this easily, but if you don't play against Sakazuki and you don't play against the mirror, this is a really great budget option to be able to cycle you cards. Again, if you don't have the Queen, maybe running a combination of him, her, and then Wire to kind of like replace what queen gives you, but you don't really lose the 4 cost 6k blocker. You don't lose the card draw and stuff like that. So it's all about kind of like working around what you don't have and finding cards that fulfill that same purpose and fulfill that same role. So that's kind of how I deck build. So moving on, we have the reducer options. Well, I guess some of the reducer options. So first up is the round table. This is a 4 cost event, and this is gonna be able to help you remove any card in the game. So for 4 Dawn, you can remove any card in the game. That's pretty much the rundown of this card right here, right? Because the highest power cards are what, like 12k power. I think Kaido's 12k, Blue Kaido's 12k or something like that. Big Mom might be 12k or 10k. But pretty much this card is going to reduce one of your opponent's characters by 10k. So as far as I know, there's no character card that has 13k power or 14k power. There would need to be 14k power to be able to dodge a shambles after this card right here. So if you guys have trouble, you know, obviously getting the Gordons, if you guys have trouble finding a bunch of these reducing cards like the Otamas, the Gordons, the Film Laws, this is a pretty great option to be able to remove anybody that you want. Maybe running a 2 of this would be the sweet spot, I feel, just because 4 Dawn is a big investment, right? 4 Dawn, that's going to be pretty much the exact same as summoning a body, any of these guys right here. So obviously super situational, but if there is a menacing character on the field and you need to get rid of it, this is going to be your go-to card right here. Moving on, we have a defensive option, the Radical Beam. Pretty self-explanatory, just a 1 cost plus 4k, mainly because you're going to be using this card late. You're not going to be using this card early, and when you're, you know, obviously in late game, this card only gives you the additional 2k when you have 2 or less life, which is pretty much going to be every single situation. If you're using this card early and you're only getting the plus 2k, you're using it wrong. I would say you always want to be using this card when you have 2 or less life. That way you can get that plus 4k. It synergizes pretty well because I'll show you guys. Whenever you shambles with Kid, right, you do Dawn -3 with Leader. If you have a Kid on the field, you get 1 Dawn and set it as active. And you can either attach that Dawn to Leader and swing with Leader, or you can like bring out a Gordon or Max for that extra 1 Dawn, or you could just leave it up. You could just leave your Dawn active, and then that way you can have it ready so you can use this Rad Beam in certain situations. So pretty good synergy if you want to use a Rad Beam. Just know that you can get it active. You can get a Dawn active with Kid whenever you Dawn minus, and then you can just keep that Dawn up to be able to have that Rad Beam option. So yeah, there's Rad Beam. I've used it a couple of times in deck lists, so I think it's pretty good. I don't run any right now, but that could definitely change in the future. Moving on, we have the Fire Fist. Super strong reducer card. Choose 1 character and give them -4k. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, KO one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 0 or less. So this is going to help us get rid of the Rebekahs with the secondary effect, right? So if we're playing like against a Sakazuki and they have a Lucci and a Rebekah on the field and we're at 2 or less life, we play the Fire Fist on the Lucci to reduce him down to 2000, and then the secondary effect, KO a character with 0 or less power, Rebekah, the 4 cost 0 power blocker Rebekah. So this is a pretty good card into Sakazuki. If you guys are struggling a lot into them, I would say look into this card. Maybe adding like 2 or 3 of these if you are also having trouble with the Gordons and finding those Gordons. This is going to be a pretty good tech card right here against Sakazuki specifically. And then I can't think of any other 0 power characters that are like super menacing right now in the meta other than that Rebekah. So if you guys think of one, let me know. But Rebekah's going to be the main target for this secondary effect right here. And then the trigger is like super insane too. The trigger just activates the main effect. So if your opponent is going for game on you and you trigger this off life, not only do you subtract 4k from any attacking character that they have, which pretty much neutralizes them from being able to attack, You could also KO one of their blockers, which if they have Rebecca on the field and you KO them off this trigger, that's gonna just and it helps you go for game next turn because they're down the blocker. You won't find a situation more ideal than that one. So Fire Fist is super strong. Definitely a great option to add. Moving on, we have the 1-cost Searcher. So pretty much our whole deck is comprised of either Straw Hats, Kid Pirates, or Heart Pirates, with a little dab, with a little sprinkle of other stuff, obviously, right? So this is going to be one of the greatest or one of the best search cards that we can use, just because it's going to be hitting a large volume of bodies. Pretty much super self-explanatory, right? Like just top 3 cards: Straw Hat, Kid Pirates, Heart Pirates, and trigger, activate these cards' main effect. Pretty good if you feel that you are having trouble, you know, being consistent in terms of like finding the consistent cards that you want. Maybe adding a mix of this as well as some Buena Festas is going to help you find the cards you need in order to help you get to your win condition faster. And then moving on, we have the Gamma Knife. Gamma Knife is super disgusting. It's a event that Dawn minus is 1, and then it says give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 5,000 power. So this helps us get rid of the 8k bodies like 8-drop Kid. What other 8k bodies are running rampant right now? I think Katakuri is 8,000 power. Green Kid is 8,000 power. This helps us get rid of Big Mom as well. Anything that's 7,000 power, we can use Gamma Knife and then shambles them away. I believe the 7-drop Big Mom, you could use this card on. You could use this on also the 7-drop blocker Luffy, the green one. You could use this on him. There's a lot of different cards that are just out of the range of Gordon and Max, because obviously they reduce by 3,000, and in order to shambles with leader, you need to have them at 3,000. You need to have them at 3,000 or less. So this is going to be able to help us get rid of those big bodies. Yes, the Dawn minus 1 hurts if you don't have a Kid on the field to ramp it back up active, but hey, that's the price to pay for a super strong card like this. 2 cost, Dawn minus 1, reduce the character by 5,000. So pretty strong. It's kind of in the same vein as this round table, right? It's 2 cost 5k and this is 4 cost 10k with no Dawn minus. So a mixture of these cards right here, maybe a little Fire Fist, a little Gamma, is definitely going to be working in tandem with each other, I feel. So now that we went through all of these, I believe I have one other options list that, I don't know, maybe there are some repeats, but let's see if there's some that we didn't go over. So we have the 3 cost Chopper in here. This just came out in EB-01. It's a blocker, which is, you know, law bread and butter, right? We have a bunch of blockers, but not only that, it is also a reducer. It is a reducer that it says if you give it Dawn times 2, attach 2 Dawn, and then when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. So this is a pretty good card to use if you, again, are finding a hard time to grab those Gordons, if you're finding a hard time to grab those film laws. Not only do we have a great card that gives minus 3,000 power, but it's also a blocker, right? So this is a super strong card to be able to add into Reparable Law. Again, the only bad thing, which kind of goes back to the same thing as this Zorojuro as well as this Trafficker Law, is that his effect is when attacking. So he will have to wait 1 turn, you know, being on the board and surviving to be able to use him the following turn. So Chopper's really good. I like him. I experimented with using him a little bit, and yeah, he's super strong. He could also attack into a character and give that character minus 3,000 power. Right, so he, for example, if he's going against a 5k body, you attach 2 Dawn to Chopper, he goes up to 6k, and you swing into the 5k body, reduce it down to 2k. So you're pretty much sending a 6k attack into a 2k body. So you could definitely choose the character that you want to reduce and attack into that character as well with Chopper. Just a little heads up. Moving on, we have the Beppo. This is going to be a 2k counter card. Again, this is going to be replacing the same slot as the Sanji, as the Hitokiri Kamazo, as the Otama. as the Saga. I just wanted to give you guys a bunch of different options for 2Ks that you guys can use. So pretty much Beppo is Dawn ×1 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less. So I would say that this Beppo is probably falling under the category of a non-playable 2K. So more often than not, if you're running this Beppo in your deck, you're going to be pretty much 99.9% of the time only using him as a 2K counter, because you never really want to be playing this card. He's 2K power. His effect is Dawn -1, or is Dawn ×1 when attacking, so he has to survive to be able to use his effect. So and that's okay, right? Like, not every 2K is going to be a playable 2K. Just how I showed you in that last example of the Baby 5, the green Baby 5 in the Don Quixote del Flamingo deck. That's a non-playable 2K, but it's an essential piece in that deck because it's a searchable 2K. And there are searchable options here that we can use, like this one that I showed you right here. You can search Beppo off of this Heart Pirates searcher right here, and you could also search that Beppo off of this. So depending on how you build your deck, you could definitely make sense and be able to use this Beppo as a defensive 2K for sure. All right, moving on. We have the Vinsmoke EG. So this is a pretty interesting card right here. It is essentially taking the same role, the same spot as this ace right here, in terms of the 7-drop, 7-drop, 7K, 7K, no counter, right? And they both have an on-play effect. So pretty much what Vinsmoke EG does is, if you have equal to or less Dawn on your field than your opponent, which is mostly going to be all the time, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power for this turn, and this character gains rush. So pretty much this is a rusher and a reducer in one card. It's going to be kind of hard to pull him off, right? Because you have to have equal to or less Dawn on the field than your opponent. So you're not ever going to be really hitting him on your first go around without shamblesing. So I feel like in order to be able to play this card, you have to shambles at least once, right? Go down 3 Dawn, and your opponent keeps going up in Dawn, right? So by the time you hit 7 after you've shambles once, your opponent is going to be already at either 8, 9, or 10. Your opponent is going to be at higher Dawn than you. So you're going to play this card, reduce an opponent by 2K, and you can shambles that opponent, and then this character also gains rush, so he could attack into another card. So this is pretty much going to help you get rid of 2 bodies on the field if done correctly. So I thought it was a pretty interesting card to try out, and it's a pretty good budget option, I feel, because these aces are kind of expensive. And if you don't have the aces, I think trying out these EGGs might work out for you, because not only does it get the reduction, it also does get the rush that ace does not get. So it might be interesting for you guys to try that one out. So moving on, looks like we went through all of these. Ragnarok. This was brand new. This came out in EB-01, and yeah, pretty much it's Dawn -1, KO one of your opponent's characters, cost 8 or less. So pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be a 5 cost removal card. This takes in the same slot as, as our kids, as our Miss All Sundays, as our queens, just because it is 5 Dawn. So we're going to pretty much have to choose either we want to play one of these cards or we want to remove something. So it's pretty strong in any other purple deck. Red Purple Law, it might be a little situational. It might be a little hard to pull off just because you do want to be putting a body on the field when you have 5 Dawn. But if there is an opponent that has like a 8-drop Katakuri or like a 8-drop Gecko Moria, 7-drop Big Mom, this card is going to be able to completely just KO them for 1 Dawn. Pretty strong. So yeah, there you have that one. And last but not least, we have the Black Bug. So this card is super interesting. I actually dubbed this the Double Shambles card. So pretty much it's 4 cost, and it's an event card, right? This came out in OPO6 as part of the Vinsmoke family package. So if the number of Dawn on your field is equal to or less than your opponent's Dawn, which is pretty much going to be all the time after one shambles. You can place up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or less characters at the bottom of its owner's deck. So, for Dawn play, right, you're pretty much going to have more than 4 Dawn when you play this, actually, because, again, you need to have less Dawn or equal to than your opponent. So you're not playing this on your first, Dawn sequence. You're shamblesing at least once, and then when you ramp back up, if you have 5 Dawn, you play this card to bottom deck a 5 cost, and then you use your last Dawn to bring out a Gordon, activate Gordon on another character, and shambles them. So you're essentially bottom decking 2 different characters in one play for 5 Dawn with this card right here. So I know you guys know of the Gravity Blade, which is I think like 6 or 7 Dawn, that blue card that came out that lets you bottom 2 6 costs. Well, this lets you bottom 2 5 or 6 costs, right? Because there are 6 costs that can still be shambles away with 1 Gordon. So this pretty much is a purple version of Gravity Blade, where if you have a Gordon in hand, you can use this and Gordon to double shamble somebody. So I've definitely used this card before, and it feels amazing just being able to clear board like that. So there's that black bug. So yeah, there you have it. I just wanted to pretty much go over a bunch of different options that you guys could use. I know some of these cards, especially the Gordons, the Film Laws, the Otamas, the Queens, are getting up there. Everything in general is raising in price for Red Purple Law, but I don't think that you need those cards in order to have fun with this deck, like, at all. This deck is super fun. There's a lot of wacky shit that you can do with it, especially with this card right here. And I just wanted to give you guys some options to be able to still have fun and build a competitive deck and not have to, break the bank over it. So let me see if I have some random options that I had. So this is my OP-05 deck. So wait a minute, OP-05, why is this in here? We can just substitute this for Gordon. Oh wait, no, this isn't even OP-05 because I got the Rages in here too. Never mind. I was looking at this. Okay, so this was a OP-06 version, right? So let's see what cards we could probably replace here that if we wanted to have a budget option. So we could go here. We're gonna build a budget deck real quick. Okay, we'll just go like this. Budget Law. 4 max, right? We're not gonna use Gordons because they're too expensive. I feel like Kid is essential. We'll take 4 Kid. We'll take 4 Kid Killer. They just came out. I believe they're like $2 each. I think Kids are like $5 each or something like that. These are like cents. So far so good. We're looking pretty good. Me personally, what do I like playing? I feel like the Reijus are gonna be like $10-15 right now each. Kind of up there, but I feel like not the most expensive card. I feel like we can get away with getting some Reijus, mainly because the on play for Reiju is completely going to be swinging games in our favor. On play, if you have equal to or less Dawn, draw 2 cards. Well, obviously you have to have 5 or less cards as well. That's the other requirement, but pretty much draw 2 cards. So insanely strong card right there. So what about for 2K? So we can go C. If you guys don't know that, you just type C2000, like counter 2000, and it gives you all of the 2000 counters. You just got to select your colors. So let's see what options we have. We have the Buena Festas. We'll put in 4 Buena Festas. Yeah, we'll put in 4 Buenas. Obviously need the Penguins right here. Staple. What other 2K options? We have the Otamas. Do we want the Otamas? I don't think the Otamas are too crazy expensive right now. Maybe they're like $5 to $8 each. Last time that I checked, I'm not too sure about that one. Don't quote me. We'll put in 2 Sanjis for now. We can remove them later. I just want to see the things that I'm actually down with playing. Oh, we'll put in 2 sagas too, actually. We'll take the Sanjis out. 2 sagas. We'll go -1 Otama. And add 1 saga. So we have 3 2Ks, 6 2Ks, 10 2Ks, 11, 12, 14 2Ks. Okay, we could reduce 1 of him. Yeah. Okay, looking good. I think we're good for 2Ks. Let me check this off. Blockers. So blockers, obviously if we're not using the Gordons, I want to add in as much reduction as possible. So we're gonna add in the maybe 3 or 4 of these. We'll add in our other MVP blocker for Shariah's. Boom boom. We also want to so what we're not going to add is we're not going to add Bonclay because it is like 30 to 40 bucks right now, and a playset of that would be what, like 120 or something like that. So let's put a pause on Bonclay until it gets less expensive. And the perfectly good substitute is going to be this Ain right here. Ain is a great substitute for Bond. And then we need the Beppos. We'll put in 4 Beppos. And maybe 2 All Sundays. Maybe 3. Ichiji. 1 Ichiji. Maybe. We cooking? Are we cooking? Are we cooking? I just want to look up something real quick. Let me look up film, because let me see what other targets we can search with this Buena Festa. See if I could find anything good. I'm just gonna do a quick search. Oh, the blocker Uta. Yeah, that might be good. Let me take one look. It might be right here. Yep, it's right here. 1, 2. 1, 2. We'll take the Ichiji out. We'll put in a 3rd blocker. We'll take out 1 Ain. And we'll bring in 1 Otama. We'll take out 1 of these guys. What else do we want? Some card draw would be nice. So let's see, 3 down. Oh, wait a minute. We're missing our Zoros. We could add in 2 Zoros, which puts us at 52. We gotta remove 1 more. Remove 1 of these. Save. Okay, so this is what we're looking at on our first iteration of our budget law. We have the sagas in here, which is a playable 2K. We don't have Queens. We don't have Gordons. We don't have Film Law. I think the most expensive card in here is probably this Reiju, which is like 10 to 15 bucks. Other than that, second most expensive card might be a tie between these two. So yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. I think we should test it out. Let's see how we end up doing. Budget law, refresh lobbies, host a game. Let's see who ends up challenging us. Ivankov. Oh wow. Okay, we'll go first. Okay. We're going 1, 3, 5. Yeah, we can keep this. 1 dawn turn, we will end. Typically, if you're playing no Gordons, you want to have either a Max or a Buena Festa in your first hand, I would say. I'm okay with this one because I have the kid, and I have these two, which are super strong, and I have this, so perfect. They play Kaya, which is going to give us a target to shambles when we hit 5 dawn. So let's see how we end up doing this. Play another Kaya. They're just going through their deck. Interesting. Okay. Let's see, what did they trash? Okay, interesting. So 3 Dawn. Let's just swing 5. I don't want to bring in a Rush Zoro because our opponent wants to go down to 0 cards in hand. So I don't want to give him the option to counter twice right now. So I'm just going to play this and call it a day. Next turn, I want to bring in the Kid, Shambles, into maybe the Zoro if I don't get a better option right now. If he swings at life, I'm going to take it because hopefully I get like a Dawn Ramper or something that I could Shambles in other than bringing in one of these guys. He's staying in hand right now. If I don't see the Buena Festa and I play the Buena Festa, I'm going to pretty much keep this guy in hand as a defensive 2K. He has that playable option, I feel, if I play the Buena Festa, but if not, he's just staying in hand. So our opponent is going to swing 9. It's okay because I already knew that I wanted to take it. So we get the Ein, which is perfect because I'm going to Shambles next turn. Perfect. If we draw a Reiju, that'd be even crazier. Okay, perfect. So boom, bring in Kid. 1, 2, 3, bottom, bring in the Ein. Dawn active. And yeah, we'll just swing 6. Hopefully they take and they don't have a 2K. Okay, bet they take. And I'm not going to swing with Shiraya because if I swing, it gives them a chance to... Oh, that's not good. Bottom deck 5 cost, that's okay. So, but pretty much what I was saying is I don't want to swing because if I swing, they're going to counter. And they want to be at 0 cards in hand because if his effect is 0 cards in hand, draw 2 cards. So I'm just going to pass. I'm going to try to swing heavy to kind of force my opponent to take these life hits as opposed to countering out. All right, so 5 to 5. What do I want to do? I can take this. Boom, Reiju. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Inazuma, if you have 2 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. You do not have 2 or less cards in hand, so you will not draw 2 cards. My turn. I have the Reiju. I want to play the Reiju. 6 Dawn, they have 6, I have 6, so I need to pitch 2 cards. 7, 6, 5. We'll go here. 1, 2, 3, bottom, bring in Reiju, draw 2 cards. And we'll swing 8 to life. Hopefully he takes this because I don't think he has enough counter in hand. Boom, perfect. Pass. If I swing 5, he just counters 1 and like reduces his hand size, so I'm just not going to do that. I actually lost to Ivankov at locals like last week, so I kind of have a different game plan now. I didn't really have a game plan when I played against it last time, but this time I kind of know what they want to do, so I should have a better idea now in this time around. So our opponent trashes cards and gets the double attack. So one way or another, he ended up reducing all the cards in his hand, swing 6 to us. We have a lot of defensive options right now, so I could just... He has a 7. We'll block for 6 and give a 1K. He still has a 7K swing and he passes. Okay. Now it's getting popping right now. So our opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish we had some reducers right about now. We're not really hitting on any of our reduction. I might have to go back and add some like Fire Fists or some Gamma Knives. That might be the move. You may trash 2 cards from your hand. Return a character costs 4 less to the opponent's hand. Then this character gains double attack. That's not good. We'll just go like... We'll swing with this. Nothing. Bring in here. Ramp 2 Dawn. Get 1 active. And swing 6 to life. Do you have a 2K? Hopefully you don't have a 2K. Oh, you do have a 2K. That one hurts. And we'll end. We will end. So our opponent is going to get this effect off if you have 2 or less cards in hand. Draw 2 cards. But I don't think they'll get this card off, or this effect off. So we're looking pretty good right here. If you have one of those cards in hand, this card gains 2,000 power. Okay. Is he going to pitch one more? If he ends turn, he gets this. He's going to draw 2 cards. Let's see. We're looking pretty situated. We're going to be at 7 dawn next turn. So our opponent's going to take a barrage of attacks. Our opponent's going to trash 2 cards from hand and return probably this Shariah. Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to bring the Shariah out. Swinging 9 to life. Double attack. We can block for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we'll go for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Resolve. Opponent still has 3 attacks left. He'll probably just swing into board now. 7 to lead. We'll block for 1 and we'll give 1. That leaves him 2 8K swings to probably just go 8 here and then 8 here. And then I got the rush coming in to be able to take some of his cards out. So he's going to swing 9 to Kid. We'll give that. And he'll probably swing 7 into Shariah. And we'll give that as well. He doesn't swing. Okay, cool. We'll swing 7 to lead to activate our Kid Killer. Let's see if our opponent ends up giving us, or reading that play that we're about to give him. He takes it, so our Kid Killer is officially activated. Let's swing 5 to lead. Oh, 1K. Five to lead. See if they give us a blocker here. 2K. So he probably only has a 2K or a no counter left. What do we do here? I will go Shariah. 1, 2, 3, 0. Kid Killer, swing 7 here. And he'll probably give me this Inazuma. Or he has a 1K. 2K. Okay. So you may trash 2 cards from your hand, return up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less. Our opponent's gonna draw 1 card, so he's only gonna have 1 card, so he can't activate this. So I am going to enter. Maybe I should have just swung like a bunch with him, but it is what it is. Luffy cannot bounce these Shariahs. So as long as we survive this turn, we are golden. He's kind of forced to attack into this. Besides, next turn we have 2 rushers, so we just put out another blocker though. 7 to lead. We will take trigger. No trigger. 6 to lead. 8 to lead. No trigger. It's not looking good for us. 8. Wish we had a little bit more counter in hand. Let's see if our opponent goes for a board here. Let's see if he chickens out. He doesn't know that we don't have counter. He thinks we have a lot of counter, but I really just have 2K. Swinging 5. We'll go 7. Resolve. You can swing 8 and 8. If he swings 8 and 8, there's nothing much we could do. Let's see if our opponent actually has the cojones to end here. Again, information is key. He did swing with this one blocker, so that kind of tells us that he's kind of going for game. But hey, 4 cards in hand. 2 Dawn. Swings 9. No blocker. We'll block here. No way we end with this. Oh, he sold. He sold. 7 to 5. Gladly, sir. Gladly. Oh my gosh, he just drew 4 cards. I didn't fucking expect that. Oh, that changes things. Damn it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I go 5, 6, 6, and then 6 with him at the end. So that's what we'll do. That's the only way. That's the only thing we can do here. So we'll go 5. Let's see what our opponent gives us. Does it give us a 2K? Does he give us a 2K? We will see. I need it to be a 2K. 1K. We'll swing 6. Yeah, it's looking kind of rough, fellas. 2K. 6. Takes. 5. 1K counters this. Oh, it hurts. One, 2, 3. Can't shambles anyone. Bring in Zoro. Swing 6 to lead. Blocks. $2K. That's game. No. Okay, I guess he did have that. Unlucky for us. So what do we learn that match? I think we go back to the drawing board. So I didn't see any reduction. So what does that tell me? It means that this Fire Fist is coming in. Round Table is coming in. What could we remove? We have a bunch of 2Ks, right? We could remove those 2. We got a Round Table. We got Fire Fist. And Gamma Knife. We'll go 2, 2, 2. That sounds pretty good. We just gotta remove some stuff now. We'll remove 1 Chopper. Remove 1 Ain. Remove 2 Zoro. How's this look? I think this looks pretty good. So I'm gonna keep testing this, guys. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys like a little bit of some options that you can use, some different techniques, some different substitutes, right? So just to be able to have a budget build, like as soon as I'm like as I'm looking at this, I'm already thinking like maybe I could take the Ain out, but Ain's pretty good. It's also searchable by Buena Festa. You pretty much want your whole deck to be working in tandem and pretty much have it be working like a well-oiled machine. Like if you want to run the Buena Festas, maybe running like a full film package will be ideal. You could also search this card right here, which is kind of working in our favor. But yeah, so there you have it. This was a little bit of law budget options. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys, you know, now know of some different cards that you can use, some different strategies, some different synergies possibly. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Later.